Welcome back to the Chats and Recaps podcast with your host, Sammy.
And Mimi. We're glad you joined us today. So let's get into it.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload.
Welcome back to the Chats and Recaps podcast. Happy Wednesday. Today we are talking about The Bachelor, greatest seasons ever. They just did an episode on Brad Womack, and we're here to talk all about it.
Yes, we are.
So Brad Womack, aka the two-time Bachelor. Before we get into it, I was told that apparently I sound anti-ABC on some of the other podcasts because of things I said about when they did the first Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I was saying it's like sexist and whatever. Mm-hmm. I am not anti-ABC. I watch lots of ABC programs. Perhaps I should clarify when I'm discussing certain things to say they're more directed toward the Bachelor franchise and how they portray things.
Yeah, not ABC.
Yeah, I'm not anti-ABC. I watch a lot of ABC programs. So right. ABC, if you're listening, I don't hate you.
No, I like a lot of their programming.
Oh, also, Claire's season is starting to film. And apparently, because of obviously COVID and having to find a more creative way to do it while being compliant with regulations and all that. Yeah. So they have a whole entire huge resort to themselves, I guess, where all the dates and everything are going to be happening. So that'll be interesting.
It's all going to be in that one resort?
Yeah, I think it's like one of those huge resorts that has a whole bunch of different stuff that you can do in it. Like almost like its own little island or something, I guess. I don't know.
Man, that sucks.
So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Like Bachelor in Paradise type thing?
Yeah, kind of like that.
That's cool.
Except even in Bachelor in Paradise, they will go out of the resort to go do stuff. This would be solely only on the resort. So I'm assuming they'll probably have maybe a beach or something. I don't know the location of the filming. I just know that it's taking place in a resort. I mean,
it sucks, but you're there to find love, not to travel.
Right. Well,
so you can travel with the person you pick.
Right. I feel like that will kind of help narrow it down to who's there just for the experience and who's there to actually get to know her.
That's true.
So just cover that really quick. So right off of the beginning, they did a little intro on him, and he started off by talking about how privileged he was and how he came from money and all that. And then he said he went from riches to rags. His parents got divorced. So they didn't really go into a lot of detail on, I guess, how he came back to riches again, because apparently now he's really wealthy again. I guess he's a businessman. So they didn't make it very clear.
Well, he went into business as, I guess, when he graduated school, he went into business with his brothers to make sure, to get out of the situation they were in, because they weren't used to that kind of lifestyle.
Right.
So, they did what they had to do to get out, and they own 3 or 4 bars all over.
Oh, did I just not pay attention to that? I don't know. I guess I didn't. I did notice, however, in one of the shots, he was wearing flip-flops and jeans. Mm-hmm. And I was disgusted. I don't know. I just hate flip-flops. I live in Florida, but I hate flip-flops. And so they were like,
a good pair of flip-flops.
Then they had a thing. He was sitting and talking to Chris Harrison. Is like, you're this really attractive guy. They're saying that you're the sexiest bachelor that we've ever had. And they were like, but why? The question is, why are you still single? And I was like, I don't know. Why is any really successful, good-looking guy usually single? I was like, let me guess. Commitment issues?
Well, some of it is commitment issue, but he had, if you listen to his story, when they went from riches to rags.
Yeah, and he talked about his parents' divorce.
He was so committed to being successful that he put that first.
Right.
Before relationship. Then when he realized, wait a minute, I'm getting older and I don't have anybody to share this with. And he went into the world of dating to look for that person to marry. He then learned a lot of stuff about himself of having commitment issues.
Right.
And I commend him.
He goes into that later.
I commend him for that, though.
Yeah. The thing is, going into his first season, we don't know anything about his commitment issues. That was just an initial guess. And then obviously knowing that he didn't pick anyone the first time, that was my initial assumption. I was like, he kind of looks like a player. Everyone in the first season, all the girls were hyping him up so hard, throwing themselves at him, doing backflips and all this stuff. Hey, notice me, putting everything in his face. It's I'm like, have these women never seen a man in their lives? Because they were like going crazy over
I
him.
know.
Chris Harrison was like hyping him up like when he freaking got there. It's not like like Michelle, where he was like, oh, just know that a girl can turn you down. Everything was like hyping him up. So I feel like he was this super hyped up guy, and I feel like it was just pumping air into a balloon. And one of the girls gave him a yellow rose, and I was like, isn't a yellow rose a friendship rose? Did she just
Yes, it
friend
is.
zone herself?
Yes, she did.
So it's like, shout out to the girl who friend zoned herself.
Yeah.
And I just noted he has a crazy group of women. And then I also noted the thing where she was like,
Seriously.
where she came down the stairs, he was like, you look beautiful. And she was like, thank you. Boom, 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 crash.
She fell down the stairs.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing.
She literally fell for him.
But like the candidates that came out of the limo, it was Jenny, Bettina, Deanna. And then they showed him when they're having drinks and getting to know all the girls.
Mm-hmm.
The girl, I don't know what her name was, but she was like, look at my webbed toes. And she took her shoe off. And then she put her nasty webbed toes on top of the table, which gross.
I would have been grossed out. I'd be like, put those away.
He was kind of grossed out.
I'd be like, put those away.
And then she put her feet on the table. Then another girl's like, oh, a bowling ball broke my nose. And the other girl was like, well, I broke my face. It's like, what the heck? What is wrong with these girls? They were trying to do so many things so hard to get his attention.
And also, I kind of noted this. They really breezed through his whole first season.
Yeah,
I guess
they
didn't really want to like dwell on it too much. But just off of the little bits that I saw, like the conversations he had with the girls from season 1 versus the conversation he has with the girls season 2, which we'll get into. But it was like there were no real conversations. Everything was superficial, and it was like, oh, she's pretty and whatever and nice, and I like her. But it's like nothing of substance. Then they got down to, they pretty much breezed through everything and then went to the final two, which was Jenny and Deanna. They started with Jenny. So Jenny got the first impression rose. They had really great chemistry, and he was talking about how they had like a really great and fun relationship. So he actually seemed like he was kind of smitten with her. And she said she wanted to be the person he falls in love with. I noted that because he asked her, at one point he was like asking her, don't you want to be the last girl here? Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, that's not really what it's about. It's about, I want to be the person that you fall in love with. Mm-hmm. And I thought that gave a pretty kind of like picture of how he was viewing the whole, like, I want to say he wasn't taking it serious, but I think that he wanted to take it serious, but he wasn't really, like, he was so caught up in it that I feel like he wasn't getting deep into the relationships.
To be honest, I don't think there was
a girl. And he was really closed off.
I don't think there was a girl in there that really piqued his attention, that really spoke to him. It looked like he was just having fun. None of the girls touched him.
It's not serious.
He was not in it, and you can tell he was not in it with his feelings. His feelings were not there.
No, I don't think so. Everything was surface level.
He was just having fun with a bunch of girls.
Yeah, it was surface level. And I was like, every time, this is the beginning of the trend that I noticed when he was sitting down with Jenny and she was reading a letter to him about how she felt about him and that she was falling in love with him and that she fell in love with him. And he just had this, like, he always has this look on his face like he's in pain or something, or like he doesn't know what to do. It's like everything is fun up until someone starts talking to him about how serious they feel about him. And then it's like he gets this deer in the headlights look. And he's like uncomfortable. It's like he doesn't know what to do. It's like he wants to run away, but then he doesn't want to run away. Then he's like, it's like
he looks,
I don't know.
Whenever conversations got serious, when it came to feelings, it looked like a dog that was trapped in a cage that was like trying to get out. He would look like all over the place to see where he can like run. And then it was like panic set in his face. So he had like a panic look. Like, oh my gosh, she's talking about feelings. I don't want to hurt nobody. It's like, how do I tell them that I'm just here for fun? I'm already committed to this, so I have to keep going through it. I feel like he forced his way to finish those dates. That's how I feel. I mean, in the middle, sure, they were beautiful women. He had fun, and they probably got intimate. I don't know. They didn't show anything. I don't think I saw his season, so I don't know if he was intimate with the last two. But you can tell he wasn't there. He wasn't all there. Emotional, he was not there.
I agree. And then they went into Deanna, which Deanna actually was a future bachelorette from his season. She was bachelorette season 4.
Mhm.
And again, it was just, they had like the chemistry. It was fun. What I did notice watching the playback of his relationship with Deanna is that they definitely did seem a little more serious. So I feel like they had a little bit more real conversations. She was a little bit more straightforward
Mhm.
and kind of I don't know what's the word, like keep him grounded throughout the
He's
whole
like, "You keep me
experience.
on my toes."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, she told him that she loves him, and again, he had the look of what I describe. It looks like a look of pain or fear. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't tell why he has this pain. I was like, is it because he doesn't want to hear it, or is it because his commitment issues are coming out?
Um, yeah, and he always had like he told all of them, "You make me happy." Um,
Mm-hmm.
with Deanna, "You make me feel grounded, you make me smile." But every time he would say a positive thing, there was always like a but.
Yeah,
And
always
every
something.
time there was some kind of closeness coming in, he started finding red flags. So yeah, he always was finding like red flags.
Yeah, I don't think it was a fault with the woman. I think it was just him.
No, it was him.
Because I feel like he had a good like final two. Out of all the women that he had, I was actually pleasantly surprised that he ended up with Jenny and Deanna as his final two, because they seem like the two more like down to earth, kind of more like serious relationship material type. They weren't, jumping all around at him.
Mhm.
Then he had his final rose ceremony. Jenny was dumped first. And I was just like, it's so weird how he did it, because he was like smiling so big when he came up, like if he was going to about to propose, and then he broke up with
I
her. And the
know.
fact that he said he wants something more that he can't find with her. I'm like, that is such a rude thing to say, because I was like, that's not a wording I would choose. I want something more that I can't find with you. Then it makes that person feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me. There's something you felt like you couldn't get out of our relationship. So I was like, dang, I mean, there's like being brutally honest, but at the same time, also being aware of other people's
Mhm.
feelings. And then Deanna came up, and I was like, when I watched it at first, off of initially knowing he didn't pick anyone the first time, I was like, well, maybe he went into the whole thing knowing that he wasn't going to pick anybody, and he was just like broke up with both of them. But he was going to, I am certain that he had picked Deanna. He was going to propose to her, because when she came up to him and he started talking to her, and he was like giving his little speech, and then he started freaking out because he was getting to the part of the proposal. And then I think at that point he started getting cold feet, and that's when he started freaking out, and he was like
Yeah.
messing with his tie. He's like, and then
Yeah.
he like walked away and walked around in a circle, and
Yes, he
then
looked like
walked and then came back,
he
and then
was
he was
gonna
like,
start. I thought he
and
was gonna have a panic attack. His
yeah,
whole face turned red. He was sweating. He was fixing his tie, and he was walking around like this, like 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 an animal caged,
right. And then he came back, and
looking for an escape.
he came back and he said, I cannot look you in the eyes and tell you that I love you.
Nope.
So brutal.
But he was honest.
Yeah, but obviously, yeah, he had commitment
He
issues.
tried.
Yeah, they did catch up with Jenny and Deanna, and they both said that they felt confident, like 100% sure that he was going to pick them. And I was just like, how are they both so self-assured? There is something that he
Well,
does behind the scenes. There's like some effect he has, or something in the words he says
no,
that gives people this feeling, because every person he broke up with was like so brokenhearted, as if they all felt so self-assured. He
well,
has some kind of effect. But
well,
he also did tell one of the girls that when she asked him of something about like the next day or something like that, and he said, oh, don't worry, it's going to be a great day. Like, you don't say that to someone if you're going to break up with them.
yeah, I don't know if it was Jenny or Deanna,
Deanna.
where he made her feel assured like she was gonna get picked.
Both of them said they felt that way because of things he said to them. But Deanna's the one who said something about that she was like nervous about the next day. And he was like, don't be, it's going to be a great day. Like, how do you say that to someone if you're going to break up with them?
Yeah.
That's why she said, I walked in feeling so confident. I knew like 100% for certain that he was going to pick me and we were going to be together.
Yep.
But again, they then go into the next part, and he addresses head on, going into his second season, how he had commitment issues, everything that he went through at the end, that he went to therapy.
Well,
And
when he got home, he was smashed so much on the internet
yeah,
by people that he was depressed. Then he went into therapy. But at least he admits, and he said it was him and it wasn't the girls.
yeah,
He had commitment issues him. And it was because his father told him and his brothers that he was going to come pick them up. And then 5 years went by and they never seen him.
Yeah.
So,
which I get that, but here's the thing. Something he said that really threw me off. He said that he regretted what he did, not because of what he did to the 2 women, but he said he regretted it because of the backlash. That's the part that throws me off. Not like, oh, I really regret it because I went through it and I strung these 2 women along and I ended up not picking anyone. I broke their hearts. No, he regretted it because of all the public backlash that he got.
yeah, but what did they want him to do? Pick someone and then later on
Yeah,
leave?
but if you're going to regret something, it should be not because you got backlash from other people. You know what I mean? It's like you do something bad and you only regret it because somebody calls you out for it. No, you do something and you should regret it because you regret the impact you had on that other person. That's how I personally feel. Like, if it's me in a situation and I did something like that and everyone is bashing me on social media, yeah, I would feel not good because people are attacking me. But at the same time,
people are mean.
To regret something just because of how someone else reacts and not because you genuinely did something hurtful is the part that bothers me. And then we go into a second season. They did say he had...
Which ABC reached out to him. Well, The Bachelor reached out to him.
Yes, to give him a second chance.
And asked if he would do it again.
Which is shocking to me.
And
of all the people...
At first he was like, no. But then he was like, I'll do it again.
So the second time around, there were 3 years between his previous season where he didn't pick anyone and his second season.
Which I couldn't tell because he looked exactly the same.
He did.
In the first one, it looked like he did the first one and the following year he did the second one. No change.
He's not exactly the same. He said he was a changed man.
Well, he was. And you know what? You can tell.
Digress. In some ways,
he was a lot different.
In some ways, yes.
He was more committed.
In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. And I'll explain as we go along when I start seeing little red flags. I'll explain as we go along. But I have a differing opinion from yours. I do agree he did change in certain aspects. I do feel the second season when I watched it through and they gave a lot more. He was more in it and he was kind of like having the right conversations and asking the right questions. But I'll explain why I don't think he changed as far as his core issues. So starting in the second season, when the girls come and they're like, oh my gosh, it's Brad Womack. Like, are you kidding me? All of the girls were like not having it. The very first girl out of the limo, Chantel,
slapped him in the face.
Gave him a slap in the face and said, from every girl in America. And all the girls were walking up to him saying they watched his season and that they were all going to have a lot of questions for him. And I was like, to be honest, I don't blame them. I would understand why. Like, if you auditioned for The Bachelor to be a contestant on the show and then you see it's him and all you know of him is his past season that he had where he went through and didn't pick anybody, I would kind of feel the same way. I'd be like, really? Did I just like waste my time to come out here on a guy who can't even commit to someone? So I don't blame them. He was really getting grilled, but I do commend him on the fact that he was, very humble about it. He wasn't giving any pushback or anything. He was just like, I understand the questions and I deserve it. They deserve to have these questions and to ask them. And he had the conversation with every girl until people felt comfortable. So I do commend him on that. And let's see. They went into Michelle.
Yeah, he gave her the first rose. Because he was impressed that she didn't ask him any of those questions.
Yeah, she said she commended him on being honest at least. And, he didn't propose to either girl. And even though it was obviously a tough decision to make, it's better to have made that decision than propose and then end up having to take it back later, or things don't work out. So on the one end, I agree with her on that. At least he was honest and didn't just do the proposal just to do it and then end up being like later, Correct. Oh wait, no, I can't commit. Correct. So I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on parts where I'm like on his side, then I'm like not on his side a little bit. So I flip-flopped a lot back and forth, like watching him.
I don't know. I give him a lot. I mean, he went through a lot in his life and he had to do a lot of adjustments and he sacrificed a lot to be where he's at today. And, he has commitment issues and he admits that he does. And, he is something that he keeps working through. And today, he's still seeing a therapist. So
the only thing is, if you have commitment
at least he's working on himself.
If you have commitment issues and trust issues, why go into another season?
Because I don't think he had them then. In the second season, he was working on them.
Yeah, but you're not fully there yet. You shouldn't, I don't know. That's where my opinion differs. So they show a little bit of Emily. Emily, I noted she was like a Carrie Underwood lookalike. She was the like sweet Southern belle. Then they showed a little action. Yeah, they showed a little action movie date that they had. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a cool date. Like, if there was any date I could do, I would love to do that one. Yeah, where you just get to pretend you're like beating up someone. And then they really were focusing in on Michelle, like how she was acting during the date. And there was a part where they were like, where she walked over and she pulled tape off his mouth and then she kissed him. And then she kept like redoing the scene. They kept saying cut, and then they had to redo it. So I'm like, I'm confused. Was she not supposed to be kissing him and she was just throwing it in there, or what?
That was another all the girls were like pissed. Michelle was like, oh no, she is not kissing him. She is just what do you call?
Was it another girl?
Yeah, it was another girl with short black hair.
Yeah, she kept ripping off the tape and kissing him.
She's just what do they call actress? They got the main role player.
Oh, supporting.
Yeah, she says she's just a supporting role. She's just a supporting role, and she's acting like she's the
lead
main,
role.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so she was like, I didn't like it. She didn't like him kissing the other girls.
Yeah.
Psycho. That's what I call her.
I think that was when that's when they were kind of starting to show Michelle, and I guess like a little bit of her craziness during the show. And then was it Michelle who woke up or someone else who woke up with a black eye?
Michelle woke up with a black eye.
And then I died. She said, I want to know who kicked my ass in my sleep.
She's like, I want to know who kicked my ass in my sleep.
And then I was like, actually, serious note, if you wake up with a black eye, you should see a doctor.
Chris was like, today, nobody knows how she got that black eye.
I know
how she got it. She was so angry at him being with other women that her veins exploded in her freaking eye.
Actually, there are medical conditions that cause you to spontaneously have black eyes, and you can wake up with a black eye. The main cause is a thyroid condition. A lot of people have undiagnosed thyroid conditions, and they will literally wake up looking like somebody beat them in their sleep. I'm not saying she has a thyroid condition, but I'm saying that does cause black eyes.
I don't know.
But it was so funny. She's like, I want to know who kicked my ass in my sleep. It's funny because they had just come off of the action date.
I was like, did she get hit because of the thing? Maybe she got hit.
I don't know. Maybe she did. Yeah, sometimes you don't feel it because the adrenaline. And then the next day you're like, poof.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened.
Yeah. And then she was talking to him about like what's his type and all that when they were talking in the hot tub. And he's like, I'm not looking for a type. I'm looking for a connection. So when he said that, I was like, oh, okay. So he's being more serious. This was like my little hint. Okay. He's kind of, he's not going into the BS. He's just being, straight out.
She's just like, Brad, you got walls up. And
she was right.
You need to be redirected. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was like, Michelle's getting crazy. She's pretty much sabotaging herself.
Yeah.
He said that he sees a strong and volatile person that, and I notated that I feel like the two of them together would have had a very toxic relationship. So I said, I think he was absolutely right when he was talking about going round and round. And then he sent her home the next day and picked Chantel because Chantel was the girl he kept saying, oh, well, I don't know how she was with you, but da-da-da. Which I hate when girls do that on the show. Anyways, he flipped around. He kept Chantel, sent her home. And then she just like didn't want to talk to him at all. Just like walked out. Didn't want to be next to him or anything.
No emotions. No nothing.
Nothing.
I was like, psycho. And the thing was, like, I like what he said to her though. He's like, we're too strong. Like, we have both strong characters. We're both stubborn. And I feel like we're going to be dancing around way too much. We'll be dancing back and forth, back and forth. And that's not something that I'm looking for. That's like, she is too aggressive. She's too demanding. Talking about why was Chantel out all night?
Yeah,
like, that's none of your business.
Yeah,
we're on a date here. We shouldn't be talking about Chantel because my time with her is private, and I like the way he told her that. My time with other girls, that's private. We don't talk about that.
Yes,
and you can't make demands on that because that's what we're all here for. I was like, goodbye, Michelle. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah. When he walked out, he said, want to talk? No.
Yeah. He was like, do you want to talk? Nope.
And then she got into the limo and literally just laid down. And I was like, okay, time to take a nap. She just said nothing. She just laid down and blinked at the camera.
He was like, can I walk you out? Can I hold your hand or not? Nope. Okay. Yeah. Goodbye.
She didn't say it. She literally just said absolutely nothing to him and just left. Oh, well. So
Well,
then they
she did say probably not when he said, "Can I
Oh,
hold your hand or
yeah,
not?"
she did
And
say
was
probably
like,
not.
Probably not.
That was like the only thing she said to him. And then they did a little catch up with her. It's been 10 years. So I was like, at least she owns up to the fact that she was being obnoxious and cringy.
Mm-hmm.
So
she still says she's still that way. So.
Yeah, they did say. So one thing is, obviously, they know they were talking about how like perception has changed over the years and how, you know, like her being like that back then is perceived differently than how girls are today. I was like, that's kind of, it's a little bit expected that you see those crazy girls on The Bachelor or The
I was
Bachelor
like,
or
no,
whatever.
Chris, we would still not accept that kind of behavior. We would still say she's cuckoo. She's crazy. So no, today you will still be a cycle. You was a cycle then in that show, and you were probably still a cycle today. Because even when they were talking to her in the present, she's still obnoxious. Because she said it.
That's her personality.
She said I was obnoxious there, and I'm still obnoxious.
Yeah, I was obnoxious.
That's just me.
I'm obnoxious now. And then she said she found someone who is the love of her life. And then he was like, someone who can deal with you. And she said, yep.
He was like,
and apparently her daughter was in a coma due to a head injury from a skateboard accident. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Well, happy to see that she's doing well.
Yeah. Her daughter looked just like her too.
I know. I was like, wow, they look like sisters or something. They looked almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Even Chris commented. I was like, that's exactly what I was just thinking.
I was thinking the same. As I was writing it, he was like, wow, you look more and more like your mother every day. And I was like, you got that right.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. And then let's get into the next part. One of my favorite parts. I thought of you the whole time I watched it.
I bet you did.
When the beetle was on the table and she was like, oh my God, what is that? And then the other girl was like, oh, it's a beetle. And then they were in Costa Rica. They were in Costa Rica. Like, the bugs are scary.
Here's the funny part. When they were walking in, the first thing I'm thinking, what the heck is that on the table?
Right? She was like, what is that on the table?
And then she was like, what is that on the table? And the other one was like, I don't know. What is that? It's like a bug or something. She ran out that room. I would have done the same thing.
I was like, that's exactly what she would have done.
When she was taking that beetle on the card and walking towards her, she threw that glass.
Oh my God, yes.
She lucky she didn't hit her with that glass, because let me tell you, you don't know other people's fear. And you don't know what people are capable of doing when they're scared.
I said,
and if that would have been me, she would have been hit with that glass. Don't play with me. Because I don't like bugs. And she was like me. She's like, I don't like bugs. There's a lot of bugs out here. I'm like,
when you're in those tropical locations, the bugs
should not
are
be teasing.
Crazy. Here's my thing. So many people do this and I don't understand why. To all the people out there who think it's funny to make fun of somebody's fear of a bug and then pick it up and try to put it in their face. Why? Why do you feel the need to do it? I just have to know. Because I would never do that. Like if I see someone freaking out in a bug, I mean, I'm probably going to freak out with you too. And even in like our situations, every time there's been a roach in the house and then you're freaking out, but you're more scared than I am. So I had to man up and kill the bug.
And is that just the regular?
And I would
We're talking about palmetto flying cockroaches.
Yeah, I would never ever in a million. If I see someone freaking out, I don't care what it is, whatever the item is, I do not take advantage of other people's fears, and I would never pick up the thing that person is screaming at and take it to them.
Me either.
Like, why?
I hate when people do that.
I hate when people do that too. I was like, I don't know. I want to know what goes on in your brain that people think that that's funny.
I don't know.
Anyways, I saw that whole section just made me think of you.
Me too. I was like,
I said, oh my God, if that was her, I was like, if that was you, you would have punched her.
What? I would have thrown that glass right in her face.
She might have died.
Oh, well, she should have never came after me with a bug. Right? And it would have been recorded on TV that she was the aggressor. She was the aggressor coming towards me with a weapon, a bug.
Like, yes, I killed her, but I am the victim. She was coming at me with
I was defending myself.
She was attacking me with an insect. Oh my gosh.
I was defending myself. I was like, that is crazy. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
That's nasty. That was funny. And it was huge too.
Yeah.
Oh, and I hate beetles because they're hard. Their shell. They look like a hard, round cockroach.
They're really hard to kill. So,
yeah, they are.
Yeah,
and they flutter, and when they flutter, you can hear their wings. Like,
they
really
sound like
freaking little helicopters.
They're super loud. So, anyways, in the next segment, they show Ashley and Brad going to a carnival. They had a whole carnival to themselves, which again, I would have loved this as a date. To have a whole carnival to myself would be a dream come true. I told Alvi that when we have lots of money that she needs to give me a carnival for one of my birthdays, and it would make my life. Anyway, so he said he had a deep connection with her. They had a very deep conversation and shared similar experiences with their father figures and their actual fathers in their lives. And so from there, it seemed that he was deeply connected with her. And he did say that he felt like he could break down his walls with her and that he shared things with her that he hadn't shared with anyone else, which I definitely noticed in that relationship.
In at the same time, I thought he was getting back into his old ways, because even though he said all these good things about her, like, I told her things I could never tell anyone in my life, except of course on the last season.
Right.
He was so happy with Ashley. They have the same goals. They're both go-getters. And of course, he starts finding little red flags. And then he started with the but.
Actually, I notated something. I said, I feel like he's actually taking it more seriously this time around. Ashley talked to him about how, her plans for the future. She wanted to be a dentist. He had a very serious conversation with her about their future and that they were at different places in their life. So whereas she is, working hard to get where she needs to be, he's already worked hard. He already is where he needs to be. So he kind of needs someone who's already at that level and ready to settle down.
Yeah.
So that part, I understood the conversation. He did break up with her before the rose ceremony because he said that he
didn't want to take her into all that.
He said, I don't even know if I can fit into your life.
Yes.
And at that point, I said, I feel like there was more that could have been discussed. I feel like Ashley shut down and kind of stopped communicating because he was saying things that were, I don't know, like it almost seemed like he wanted to give her a chance to say something, but she didn't give him anything back. So then he was just like, well, I feel like at this point, to me, when he said, I feel like I don't fit into your life, and he just left it quiet there, I feel like he was waiting for her to say something. But she didn't say anything. And then he was like, there's nothing. And she's like, there's nothing else to say. So that to me validates.
And she's like, well, what do you want me to do? Beg for me to stay? And she's like, I'm not going to beg.
I would have sent her home too.
So he's like, I don't want you to leave this way, and I don't want you to beg. And she's like, well, man, what other way is there to leave?
Yeah. I feel like it was actually a very...
I guess he was trying to give her a chance to fight for a reason to be there. I don't know.
I think he really liked her, and I think he wanted her to give more in terms of trying to push to make a relationship work. But because she wasn't giving any of that, he was just like, well, then I don't want to put you through the ceremony and all this stuff if I know that there's other people that are already in the place that I need them to be at. And you're not willing to make the space. Which is understandable because I'm not going to stop you from going after your career.
Of course. So he's like, so while you're still chasing after your career and you're just like me, you're a go-getter, you're like, all you think about is what you're going to get.
Exactly.
And you're just focused on that. When is there going to be time for us?
So I felt like that was
kind of how he felt.
Yeah. I felt like that was mature.
Yeah, it was.
It was really mature.
He's looking for someone who's going to be right there where they have time for each other. They're going to go out together because they both worked hard to be where they're at.
Yeah, this conversation I feel like is the one that made me feel the most that he was really taking it seriously and that he was looking for someone to settle down with. Things happened later that changed my mind again, but we'll get into that. Then they showed Ashley.
Her. She's now married for 8 years to JP from Ashley's season, and they have kids together. So
yes, they have 2 children. There was a part where he was asking her about how she felt watching it back, and she was talking about how he was manly and rugged, and her husband was sitting there like, yep, go ahead. Keep talking about how manly and rugged he was and how undeniable your connection was. Yep. It's great. No biggie.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
They've been married for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then they go into Chantel and Brad. So
I put Chantel the crier.
Yes, she cried a lot. He said that they had a deep connection, that he was actually attracted more to her because of how emotionally vulnerable she was. So I guess all the crying kind of paid off. She had a very hard time watching him with other relationships. So from the snippets they showed back was a lot of her crying, I guess, because she would have a great time with him. Then she would go back. And then I guess other girls would say they had a great time with him. And then she would get in her head and freak out and start crying. oh my God, if I'm having a good time with him and the other girl's having a good time with him, then how do I know that my good time with him is the
I
good time with
know.
him? And then what if something else happens? Then the other girl said it, and then he's
That's
going to send me
exactly what
home.
she said.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty much
exactly
exactly
what
what
she told him.
happened.
And he's like, I don't know what to say because.
But he did say he was very attracted to her. They showed the part where she said that she loved him, and he asked her why she loves him. And she said something about how she's like a different person, that in the beginning she was only worried about like herself in the relationship, and then now as time has progressed she realized that now she's worried more about him, which is how she knows that she loves him. It's like that unconditional kind of love where you worry more about like the other person than you worry about yourself. And then he said that his heart is the most open that it has ever been.
That's true.
With her relationship. And he said that he does see a future with her. And he said he really, really, really does, which I noticed he did quite a few times. He was like, I like you. I really, 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 really like you. And what did that make me think of?
The first season.
Juan Pablo. Oh. I like you a lot. Like a lot. I like you a lot. He did the
you
same thing.
He Juan Pablo.
He was like, I really like you. Like, I really, really, really like you a lot. Like, I really like you.
Listen, he told all the girls, I feel comfortable with you. I really like you.
I like you a lot.
I'm like, famous last words of Brad.
Right? I said, I like you. Like, I really, really like you a lot.
I really, really
anyway,
like you a lot. I can
moving on
see
from
a future with you, girl.
Right? So then they go into Emily and Brad's relationship. Emily was the Southern Belle.
Miss Pageant.
The one I said was Carrie Underwood, All-American Girl. He said that he doesn't feel like he deserves her. That
he felt intimidated by her.
Yes, he felt intimidated by her. He was always
she
nervous
also felt
around
intimidated
her.
By him.
Yeah, and that he would like stumble over his words and this and that, and she takes his breath away. For me, watching the two of them together, I felt like I was watching a Hallmark movie.
I know, right?
Because they both had the Southern accents and everything. I was like, oh my God, am I watching a Hallmark movie? And then, oh my gosh.
And then their date
story.
Oh, I know.
When they had that like one-on-one where she got really deep and she opened up, she said she was only in love once and that the love of her life died in a plane crash. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy.
She was pregnant and he didn't know she was pregnant.
And then she
found out she was pregnant. That's sad.
I can't imagine what that must have been like.
That is so sad. But did you look at his face? He was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. And his face was like shit. That's his face was priceless.
Crazy. Well, how do you react when somebody's telling you a story like that? It sounds like,
I know. Yeah,
I don't know. It's like a crazy.
He was a race car driver.
Yes,
and then
he was flying.
She was feeling
somewhere.
sick, and I'm pretty sure she was probably feeling sick.
Yeah, morning sickness.
And
so she didn't.
So
go.
he told her to stay home, and his plane never landed.
That's my God. She had
and of course
she was tugging on the heartstrings.
Yeah, she named her daughter after him, Ricky.
Yes. Yeah, that was really sad.
Yeah.
So
it was sad.
But looking at her, you would never tell that she went through something so traumatic.
I know.
Because
she had her daughter.
She's so happy and full of life and everything. And she does have her daughter.
Her daughter really helped her.
She did say that after the plane crash, she had so many times where she felt like she should have been in that plane with him. And I was just like, she's going to make me cry.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then looking at all three of them together, him, her daughter.
Yeah.
They look like a legit family.
They did.
They looked like they would make a nice family.
One thing I noted was that when he met her daughter, he used the words that he felt it was this huge step that she was even willing to allow him to meet her daughter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something, sometimes when people word things certain ways, I feel like it tells a little bit more about their character. So the fact that he used the word that she allowed him to shows, that he had this like great feeling of like gratitude that she would open up to him that. And so it gave me a lot of respect for him and how he viewed it and how he took it so seriously. And this was the first relationship ever they show where he said he is falling in love with her. Not that he likes her a lot.
No, he said
he said he is falling in love with her. And then I said, nope, she's the one. He's going to pick her. Which, mind you, I'd never seen this season, but I knew he was going to pick Emily. I was like, I don't see this any way that he doesn't pick her.
And she told him, I'm falling in love with you. And he responded the same way. So I was like, I'm falling.
He's into that one.
She's the one.
That's what I said. She is
the one. Because I'm thinking it would be sad that they spend all this family time together and then not pick her.
He doesn't pick her.
But Did you also notice that once they put her daughter to bed, she was getting more comfortable with him and touching
Yeah.
him, and he looked like he was really uncomfortable being there, and having her touching him like sensually, like she was touching him in a sensual way, like the
I
way she
think
touched his leg and the way she touched his arm.
I think he was just trying to
And he
be
was like, he
gentlemanly.
didn't, yeah, it was like he didn't know how to act with her daughter, probably in the next room or upstairs or whatever. It's like he
At the
felt a little
same
uncomfortable.
Yeah, but at the same time, that also makes me respect him more. The fact
Yeah.
that he respects that boundary,
Yes.
that it even makes him
Yeah,
uncomfortable,
because he could
is
have
a
taken
good.
advantage of her
Yeah,
being sensual, her touching him sensually. He could have taken that as another term, like, oh, am I spending
right.
the night?
Yeah.
You know, that type thing.
hmm
But no, he was very like
Respectful.
reserved and, you know,
Yeah, and he was really respectful.
yeah.
So yeah, her touching
you can
him
tell
and then him
he was
not
raised
being
up
like,
properly.
yeah, he
He
was
has
very
a lot of,
respectful.
yes.
There's nothing at any point where I could say that he was disrespectful to anybody. Like
Mm-mm.
there's nothing
No,
about
he's very,
him
his
other
mama
than
did
his
a good
commitment
job.
issues. There's nothing
But
about
then,
him that's
look
like,
at his life. Of course, he's going to have commitment issues.
I
His
don't-
father walked out on his life.
I'm not
Him and his brothers.
downing him for
Like-
having commitment issues.
Like, it's their fault that his parents got a divorce. It's never the kid's fault. You should never stay out of your kid's life just because you
Yeah,
get a divorce.
I know. I'm not like downing him at all for having commitment issues, and I understand why he does. It's just that, I don't know, going into situations like this, especially being someone who's aware that you have this issue, I just feel like not to put yourself in a position like this
Well-
that is so on you committing to
Mhm.
somebody, but you know you have commitment issues.
Well, I don't think he knew he had commitment issues.
He did,
until
because he went into the season admitting he has commitment issues.
The first season.
The second season he
The
went into
second season,
saying that
yes.
he was getting help for it, but that doesn't get rid of it completely.
Of course not, but he has
You
to
think
work
3
towards
years?
something.
You think 3 years for something that happened in your childhood, that 3 years of therapy is going to be,
No.
oh, you're ready to go back and now you can
No.
fully commit to
It's-
somebody.
It takes work. And just because
Consistent work.
he's getting help for commitment doesn't mean he can't move on and move into a relationship.
I'm
That's
not
what the
saying that.
therapist is
I'm not
there
saying that he
for.
can't, but
So,
The Bachelor
I mean,
is for
for
somebody
him-
wanting to get married and commit for life. And if you're not at that level that you're able to do that yet, then you shouldn't be involved.
But
in
here's the funny part, though.
the whole thing.
This time he was committed.
He did. Now they go to the final rose ceremony. He breaks up with Chantel. I said at least this time his reasoning was that he had stronger feelings for someone
Yes.
else and not that they were lacking something in the
Exactly.
relationship. And then I was like, I don't know if I've mentioned this when we talked about any of the other previous Bachelor episodes or anything like that. The final rose ceremony, how they set them up to have the biggest heartbreaks of all time. Like, think about
Yeah.
it. Do they have to make both girls get dressed up and think that they're going into proposal? No. But do they do it anyway because they know that when they hype you up for something and you're all hyped up for it and they get you all dressed up and you're thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to propose to me, and they know it's not happening, and you go out there, they know that you're going to break down because they got you all hyped. They do it on purpose. Anyway.
I mean, they don't know who he's. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if they know who he's
No,
going to
they
pick.
have to know
but
because they have to know who they're
both
bringing
be-
first.
Yeah,
the girl
have
he's
to
breaking up
know.
with always comes first.
That's true.
So, because you have to end a relationship before you can commit to one. So
That's
they
true.
know who he's going to pick because they have to know what order to bring the girls.
That's true.
Anyway, the final rose ceremony, obviously he picked Emily, but first they showed him breaking up with Chantel, and then they did a little catch up with him. And
Chantel now.
yeah, she talks about how she was really heavy-handed with the slap in the
Yeah.
beginning. I had a good laugh about that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, imagine being in her situation. She got broken up with, and all these people, apparently they leaked the article saying that he got engaged to her.
They were engaged.
And she's having to
her heart is broken.
Right? And people
And
are like,
she's like,
congratulations on your engagement.
No,
Like,
he didn't pick me.
but she can't say that. She has to
I
just
know.
like go along and pretend like, oh, I don't know. That
Yeah,
sucks.
It does, because she's up here trying to get over a heartbreak, and they keep congratulating her.
Yeah.
That really sucks.
They did ask her if she wanted to be the Bachelorette. She said that she had agreed, but then she met someone on a blind date who she
Mhm.
apparently immediately said that she had met her future husband, and I guess she was
Yep.
right because she married him. They've been married for 8 years, and they have 2 children.
Yes,
And I was like, she said she don't need ABC to find love.
no.
I
and
mean,
then
she don't need
was
the
like,
Bachelor to find love.
when she contacted them to tell them that she couldn't do it because she agreed to do it. And then she told them she couldn't
because she met
it wasn't
that guy.
fair because she felt like she met her soulmate and it wasn't fair to just go on the show knowing she has her soulmate already picked.
Kudos to her.
So yeah, because she could have just
she could have been another one.
She
could have
been like, honey, I'm just gonna go do this and get it. I'll be good. I'll be
right?
good. No.
So after the little update, they go back into the proposal to Emily. And I was like, why is he always so nervous and scared when it comes to getting to commitment parts? Notice she walks up there, he's all smiley, happy, He starts talking and he's like really into it. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh wait, crap, I had to propose. And then it's like all of a sudden he gets nervous. There he goes again, loosening the tie. But the only thing is he didn't walk away.
But this time he almost cried. And something that I noticed, he was like so in it. And when he told her that he loved her, I believe that he did. I felt those feelings. And I felt like he was in it 100%. He was like choking on his words. He wasn't walking around like a caged in animal. He didn't look like he was panicking. Yes, of course, he's getting ready to propose. So he was nervous. But he was happy. He was in love. Who I didn't feel it from was Emily. I felt like she took the proposal, but she wasn't in it.
I don't know. I feel like she was in it. I feel like she was.
I didn't feel it for.
I think they both were in it. I think that when he said he loved her, I believe he meant it. I don't think any part of that was false. However, I don't know if he really knows that his shakiness was from his nerves or that it really was him fighting his commitment phobia and like forcing himself to do it. Here's what I think. I do believe that he loved her.
Yes.
It seemed very genuine to me.
I
think he loved her. I think he liked that he wanted to commit to her and get married, but the subconscious is a hard thing to fight. And I think that's what was giving him the nerves, because usually in a proposal, they're choking up just talking, like telling them everything that leads up to the proposal. And then they're already, choked up. But the fact that he has an easy time saying everything except getting to the actual proposal is like an indication to me that the subconscious pops up when he's talking about when anything comes to commitment. And I think it's just like a subconscious thing, whether he wants to have it or not. I don't know. I think he still has it.
Yeah, but
he still has commitment.
The breakup wasn't him.
Yeah, I think he still has commitment issues. Yeah. They were a long distance relationship and I guess it wasn't working. Long distance.
Yeah, she's married, 4 kids. So her daughter 15, man. And then 3 boys. So she was like
she did kind of take ownership for the breakup happening. She did say it wasn't him, it was her.
But because like I'm not
saying he wouldn't have committed to her. I'm just saying I think that he still has those he still has the issues.
When he was proposing to her, she looked more reserved. She didn't look like those, like all the other bachelorettes that when they're being proposed to, she's like shaking and she's like, oh my God, and she's happy. She was like reserved.
Well,
like
as somebody who's been proposed to, I was not shaking and crying and doing all those dramatic stuff that other girls do. That doesn't mean that I wasn't excited and all into it, obviously, which I am and still am. Some people are different in different proposal situations. I mean, look at like Hannah and Dylan. Hannah was the most awkward person ever when she received that proposal, and yet they're still going strong. So I can't really go too much by reactions to proposals because some people aren't like all overboard.
Yeah, but at least you can tell they're there. She was reserved.
No, I feel like I saw excitement in her face. I think she was all excited up until the part he started getting really like shaky and weird and nervous, and then it kind of threw her off a little bit. And then I think from there, that's when there was that kind of weird response, I guess, because I feel like there was something in her head that said, is he about to do what he just did to the last girl? Because they all watched the season, so they all recognized his nervous reaction right before he walked away and said he wasn't going to pick her. So I feel like in her head, she started thinking, oh my God, is he about to do what he just did that last season? I could see that moment happen.
He kneeled down and he
did, yeah, but still, like once the thought is there, the thought is there. You know what I mean? any little moment that allows doubt.
I don't know. I know he was like, it was a brutal breakup.
He said he tried to call her like a ton of times.
A ton of times, and she wouldn't talk to him. So he
but
did
then he
say
found out
she
had a boyfriend.
Yeah, he said once he found out she had a boyfriend, and then he left her alone.
Yeah,
because that's the kind of guy he is. He's gonna respect boundaries. But he was really in love with her, and he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her.
I think he was,
and he had a hard time with that breakup. And he admitted it. He had a very hard time with that breakup. But then he found someone.
I can see that.
From, I think, the gym that he was going to.
Yes.
And he said, as soon as I heard that she broke up with her boyfriend, like as soon as she ended that sentence, he was like, would you like to go out with me to my best friend's birthday party? And they're still together. So
you want to know why?
We're still going strong.
You want to know why I said in the beginning that I feel like he still has commitment issues?
Why?
Regardless of all the stuff that happened this season. Because when he was talking about this girl now, his girlfriend, I said he can't even commit to calling her his girlfriend. Notice he never called her his girlfriend, other than that they're seeing each other. And then he introduced her as his lady friend.
Yeah, because they're just starting to see each other.
But she called him her boyfriend. He could not call her his girlfriend. It's just those little weird things. It's like usually they're like, yes, I want to introduce you to my girlfriend. Like when Peter and Kelly got together, he was all like, yes, this is my girl. This is my girlfriend. That's how you should be when you're in a relationship. That's like how I would expect anyone to be like, this is my girl. This is my girlfriend.
Remember, he had commitment issues. But he still probably does.
I'm just saying, I think he still does.
Finally breaks down those walls and falls in love, proposes to her. Gives his whole heart to her, wants to be with her.
And then they break up.
And then she breaks up with him. So how is he supposed to feel?
I'm not saying.
Of course, I would be scared to call anybody my girlfriend. It's like when
I'm just saying.
It's like me. When I'm working somewhere and I have my desk and everything is there. And then I look around and everybody's got their pictures and everything. And, my background, I never stayed too long in a place. Because I always feel like I should be doing something else. So I never really settle. So I'm the only one sitting there with no pictures, nothing personal in my space. Because, it's hard because I feel if I bring in a picture, then it's going to be permanent. And I don't want it to be permanent because I'm always moving on to other things. And, and then when you finally do put a picture up, or something, then your boss is like, it's not working out. It's hard.
I understand that. At the same time, you're kind of proving my point. He does have this commitment issues. He had it when he did his second season, and he probably, regardless of what he says or not.
And now he's got it again and because his heart was crushed.
I think at that point he was really working on himself, which I commend. And he was really pushing to have this relationship work because he felt the feelings were there and he didn't want his commitment issues to keep him back from someone in his life. Do I think it still played a part in their breakup? Yes. Do I think neither of them just talk about it? No, because they're both very respectful, cordial people. They're not going to talk about anything that happened in their relationship. We're never going to hear it. But obviously, I think it must have played a part somehow because when you're in a long distance relationship, somebody's got to give back and forth. And if neither people are giving, it kind of falls on both sides.
I'm pretty sure
But even with what you're saying,
him
right?
To move to where she was at because
and he didn't want to commit to
it. And she's got a daughter, but
and he didn't want to commit to it.
Maybe they should have came in between and nobody wanted to budge because in the end, he still ended up with someone being just as stubborn as him.
Yeah, but also why? Because you don't want to sacrifice everything and do this move and then it not work out. Because guess what? That's where the commitment issues stem from. It's the same thing you're talking about with the desk. You have an internalized fear already about not staying somewhere for a long period of time. So when you finally do go, okay, I can finally settle in. You set all your stuff down and then you're like, oh, great, now you got to move again. Well, that just confirmed the fear that was already present in your head. So you're going to carry that on to every other thing. I'm not saying it's not warranted that he feels that way. I can understand why he has, especially given, what he went through as a child. So I completely understand it. I'm just saying it proves my point that that's
not just as a child, but who knows what happened in between their relationship.
Who knows?
And then, of course, he found someone else. He's happy. Why does he have to put a label on it? Why can't she just?
I mean, if the girlfriend is fine with that, then hey, so be it.
I would be fine with it because who's leaving with him at the end of the night? I am. So I don't care if he want to call me his lady friend or his friend,
Oh my
whatever.
God.
Whatever makes him feel comfortable until he gets comfortable. Nothing
When
has
we
to
watched
have
that,
a name tag.
when we watched that, and he said my lady, and he said introduce you. He said introduce you to my lady friend, and I looked at Alvy and I said, if you ever had introduced me as a lady friend when we were dating, I would be pissed. I would be pissed.
But see, that's you. Some women
I'd
are
be
okay
like, no,
with it.
I'm not your lady friend. I'm your girlfriend. And if you can't call it like it is.
Well, some people
Peace.
are faster to get there than others. He's not comfortable yet. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's scared that if he says, this is my girlfriend, she turns around and say, I don't think this is working out.
It still proves the commitment issues are there, or the phobia, or the trust issue, or whatever. I keep saying commitment issues. Also, part of it, I believe, is what he said.
I would have just been like,
he said
would
he
you
has
like to meet the
commitment and
person
trust.
I'm in a relationship with? Here she goes.
That just sounds so cold. It sounds like I'm doing a business transaction. Like, hey, want to meet my business partner, Fred? It's like I'm keeping you at arm's length. Not close enough, but like just at arm's length, you know? So that if anything happens, I'm protecting my heart. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but going, I don't know. Anyway, so my overall thought is I went into the season very skeptical. I was not sure if I was going to like him or not. And, you know, knowing he did 2 seasons, he didn't pick anyone the first time. I was like going in kind of ready to not like him. But he did make me like him. He's a likable person. He's respectful. He's kind. He is straight out. He doesn't beat around the bush. I don't feel like he strung anyone along. And yeah, I don't know. I was actually pleasantly surprised by him. I would say now that he probably joins my list of possibly favorite bachelors.
Yeah,
just because I feel like the way he handled everything, and there's a lot of stuff about him that I liked.
didn't like him in the first season.
No, in the second season, he won me over in the second season.
But the second season, he was truly himself.
Yeah,
and that's when
he won me over. Yeah,
I like his true self.
The first season, I was like, ill. You're giving me these ill vibes, and then the second season, I was like, oh, so
this is who you really are.
My first thing was I love anytime someone can acknowledge a fault in themselves.
Exactly.
That says a lot about somebody. So that was my first win for him. And then as it went on, I was like, oh, he's being completely different. Yeah. So it's one thing to say you're a changed man. It's another thing to, you know, walk the walk. And I feel like he walked the walk.
He did.
So he won me over.
And then it was funny when Chris was like, would you like to be the bachelor?
And he's like, no.
Yeah, right. He's like, would you? He's like, no, I'm in a relationship right now, so I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to go around along the route of having older people, you know, be bachelors and bachelorettes again, which I feel like is what the show originally was intended to be. It should have been for, you know, people who are a little bit older, who are like really well settled in their lives, well financially stable, and the only thing missing in their life is that partner.
Special someone.
Yeah, that special someone.
But don't you notice that it's just so weird that these people have been on The Bachelor and no connection on The Bachelor, but then they turn around and here she met someone at church, and here he met someone at the gym, and the other person met someone on a blind date, and
because you never know how it's going to happen.
Exactly.
You know why?
I think they meet them because after they do The Bachelor, they kind of give up on love. They kind of give up on like, you know what, this is not going to happen. And as soon as you give up,
when you stop looking
and you stop thinking, there goes the person.
That's
why?
True.
Because you're not putting up any walls and you're not putting up any reservations, and you truly meet the person that meant to be with you.
That is very true.
It's like a person who wants to be pregnant. There's nothing wrong with them, but they can't get pregnant because they're constantly concentrating on wanting the baby so bad that they're just blocking themselves. And then the minute that they don't think about it, boom, they're pregnant.
Yeah, like Brie.
So, yeah, like Brie.
Yeah.
The minute she was like not even trying.
Oh my God.
It's always like that. The minute you stop trying and you just don't care anymore,
that's
boom,
when it
you're
happens.
pregnant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't wait to see their babies.
I know.
Especially Nikki.
And we're talking about Brie and Nikki Bella, the Bella twins.
I've been listening to their podcast actually here and there. They're talking about a lot of like baby stuff and everything.
Yeah. I love them.
I didn't like some of the first episodes. Now I'm listening more. I actually like them more. Yeah.
They're unfiltered.
They're real.
They're just real, unfiltered.
They're talking about like the craziest stuff though sometimes.
That's what I like about them. They're not scripted.
Yeah. Anyway, that doesn't have anything at all to do with The Bachelor.
I know,
But
it doesn't.
you saying that made me think of Brie.
I know. I just love them girls. The Bella twins.
Yeah.
I love them in wrestling. I love them on the Divas. I love them on the Bellas.
Yeah, on their own show.
I just
on their
love them.
podcast.
I love
They
their
wrote a
clothes.
book. I want to read
love
it.
their outwear and stuff like that. I like it. I like them.
Yeah, so if you're listening, we would love to
If you're
talk
listening,
to you.
we're big fans. Woo! We love you, Bella twins.
So anyways, that's the end of the episode. The next thing that they're going to show on the Bachelor Greatest Seasons Ever, they're going to cover Ali Fedotowsky. Ali Fedotowsky?
I have no idea how to say her.
Ali something. Anyway, they're going to be covering Ali's
her season.
Yes, but we're going to have another break in between before they show it.
2
So
weeks.
it airs August 2nd, I think. So not next week, but the week after that.
Yeah.
So when that one comes out, we'll obviously cover that episode. Also on Hulu, they have just posted, at least as far as I'm aware, just posted Andy Dorfman's season of The Bachelorette, the full thing to watch. And they've also posted Juan Pablo's season, which if you listen to the last episode when I was like going on a whole tangent about him, his season's now available on Hulu as well. So those are two things that I'm going to need to watch and that you should watch too if you've never seen them and you have a time. They're available, so take advantage.
So I got to see it.
Yeah, me neither. I know. I have to find out what this controversial season, the most hated.
Happened?
He's talked about as like the most hated bachelor of all time. So I got to find out.
Got to see it.
Other than the few clips I've seen here and there that have made me kind of see like what people are talking about, I want to watch the whole thing through and kind of make my own judgment.
Yeah, I want to see what happened, how he treated everybody, because they made it sound like he treated everyone like they were just a piece of meat.
Pretty much. So I'm really curious to watch that. Also, should we cover those seasons? Should we do recaps on those seasons? If you would like us to do that, let us know. And then we'll cover those since they're available. But only if you want to hear it.
Yep. Let us know. Drop a line.
So thanks for tuning in.
And don't forget the grasshopper at the end.
It was a praying mantis.
No, it was a grasshopper.
No, it was
like,
a praying
what the
mantis.
heck?
It was a praying mantis.
The way they showed it, it looked like da-na-na-na.
No, that was a praying mantis.
Da-na-na-na.
It wasn't a grasshopper.
It looked like a grasshopper.
No, it's because they were showing it really close. It was a praying mantis. It had the little.
And then it jumped, and they're like, "Oh my god, what is that?"
It was a little green stick, and it was like this. You know, like why they're called praying mantis. They look like they're praying. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. It was a praying mantis.
And then they showed the head like this after it jumped.
And I was like, "Dang, I haven't seen praying mantis in such a long time. We used to see them all the time in New Jersey."
Mm-hmm.
Did you know? I think like in Pennsylvania or something like that, it's illegal.
They're good luck.
It's illegal to kill a praying
mantis. You're not supposed to kill them.
Well, some people do, but
you're not supposed to kill praying mantis, and you're not supposed to kill dragonflies. They're good luck when they come into your home.
Yeah, but the praying mantis is the only one I know that like the state has an actual law against killing them.
It should be like that everywhere.
Yeah. So yeah. Again, thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and we hope that you are happy, healthy, and manifesting everything you desire out of life.
Amen.